Yo, what's good, guys? Today we're gonna be finding basically the answer to this question. Um, find the interval in which f of x is increasing or decreasing, well, and decreasing, considering it could be either. Once we get into the problem, we'll see, and find the relative extrema. So this is our f of x. So with these types of problems, first thing you want to do, find f prime. We do this in a different color. Find f prime of x. Okay. So quotient rule here. So low D high times high D low. The derivative of the lower function or lower thing here is 0, so just it's gonna be a minus, not a positive, not a thing there over that. These will cancel, so just negative 2x over 2, which these cancel, so it's just negative x minus 3 minus 0. So f prime of x equals negative x minus 3. There. Okay, negative x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, x has to be equal to negative 3. Um, that's it. That's the only one that it could be. That's the only point at which x is equal to 0. Say that's negative 3. Let's plug negative 2 in, and negative 4. Negative 4 minus a minus is positive, so this is going to be positive because minus negative 4 minus 3 is 4 minus 3, which is 1, which is positive. Negative 2 is going to be negative because minus minus 2 minus 3. So it's going to be looking like that. Do this next part in a different color. So it's also, so looking at this, we can tell that this has to be a max because it goes from positive to negative. This is a max. So negative 3 is your max. You also do that in a different color. It's a relative max. Okay. And looking at this, we need to make an interval. So considering the only point at which the derivative is equal to 0 is negative 3, we can tell that since it never changes from positive to negative or negative to positive, it's essentially just a parabola. You could have also told this instantly by saying that this is a x squared and that there's no degree higher. It's not x cubed. It's not x to the fourth. It's just x squared, which is always a parabola or like a circle, or like, yeah, one of the like weird circle function things. Um so we know that it has to be negative infinity to some value, and that same value to infinity, just because um, that's how parabolas work. So say that this is like the reason that works is this way, as long as it's continuous, which this is, um, always extends toward infinity. You see, like this, no matter what the x value is here, this goes to infinity, always. Can tell that by looking at this. No matter what, um, no matter what x value you put here, it'll always tend towards negative infinity or positive infinity, essentially. So we can tell that looking at that the negative side is going to be okay. So we know our graph is angled down. That much we have. And we know the negative side, the side on which the derivative is negative, is to the right of negative 3. So that means the right of -3 has to be negative. It has to have a negative slope. It has to have a negative derivative. So that's going to be that. Um, weird. Another thing, I technically made a wrong thing there. It's okay. So some calculus textbooks will consider if I do this, if I don't do that, maybe if I do this, um, they consider this, how do I say, like, they consider this the correct way of writing it as opposed to this. AP doesn't care either way. Unless it's like this would have been wrong if I wrote -3. Yikes. If I wrote -3 with brackets. This is wrong. The reason that this is wrong is because these brackets indicate that it can be that value. It's essentially like a greater than or equal to thing versus a greater than thing. Greater than, not including the functions, is this. It's just whatever it is times whatever, using parentheses as your interval. Brackets indicate it can be equal to it. Well, it can't. Well, it's weird because some calculus textbooks actually do say that if it's equal to 0, it technically counts as positive or negative. I usually use brackets just because I don't care. But if your teacher tells you not to use brackets, don't use brackets. But most teachers don't care, and the AP exam doesn't care for the most part. Um, if it's not continuous there, obviously they'll care. If it's not continuous, you have to use this. You have to use parentheses, no matter what. If it's not continuous, you cannot use brackets. But yeah, when it's like this, and it's like um, it could go. It is a 0 at the value here. It is a critical. This value is a critical number. It could go either way. Same thing with infinity. Sometimes they use brackets around infinity. Sometimes calculus textbooks don't. I generally just use brackets because I think it looks nicer. But yeah. So depending on which way you write it, it could be this. Or this. It could be that or that. Either one. Either one will work in most cases. Just so you know, this U right here, it's a probability thing for the most part. It just signifies and. You mostly see it in like statistics, but it's right to use it here. You would want to use it here. So these are the two answers for this problem. Hope that helped. XD.